Now, yesterday, a modern icon made his talkSPORT debut as the former Everton and Burnley boss Sean Dyche joined Johnny Owen on the warm-up. Gabby, Sean Dyche, would you like to play for a manager like him?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I really would. Spoke to Ashley Young about him recently, and he loved him. Loved the way he plays football, the way... You know, but he got a lot of stick, didn't he, for the way you play, but they got the ball down and played some stuff in the right areas. Yes, maybe they didn't play from the back and risky football, but they got into the right areas. Then you had your Matt Neils doing their stuff there. Look at the way Nottingham Forest are playing. I love watching Nottingham Forest. Yeah. Different style. Absolutely. And again, if Sean Dyche had been with a club that had, with all due respect, a higher calibre of players, he might well have played in a different way. We don't know. Let's find out what he had to say, starting with a little comparison between the job he did at Burnley and that of Vincent Kompany.
When I got there, they were still paying players off from 2 years, 3 years previous when they got in the Premier League. And I went, you can't go through that again. I said, there's got to be more to it. Now, you've got to do something that means something. So they agreed, built the training ground, took a knock, went down that first season. You spent about £9 million, on the team, which is farcical, really, but put the money into the club and the future of the club. And they did stand by me. So we did go down that season on 33 points, I think it was, by the way.
Right.
People forget that. We're going to a big company in a minute. Yeah, 24, I think they got. Yeah. Spent 127 million, you know what I mean? Got the band job. I don't know how that worked, but I wish I was doing it.
Yeah,
I wish I would have left the club 127 million in debt and then got the band job. Anyways, there's an interesting twist of life.
You know, and in fairness to Vincent Kompany, a lot of people raised their eyebrows. Everybody raised their eyebrows. He's done a decent job with it, hasn't he? So shows that Bayern may be right. Yeah, and then the style of play they must have liked as well from Burnley. And also sometimes I feel that your playing career can help sometimes. We've seen it with Wayne Rooney getting jobs, and Vincent Kompany, outstanding, probably top 3, top 4 centre-halves the Premier League's seen. And he's been there and done it. And they would have seen clips as well of the previous jobs, his aggression, the way he speaks to the players. So all that would have been involved. So, but those figures are stark, aren't they? The amount of money that Sean Dyche had to spend and the amount of money that Vincent Kompany had to spend.
And then he gets that job. Yeah. Football can be cruel sometimes.
It can. Yes. Sean also went in depth as to just how tough a job Everton was and why he's proud of how the 2 years went.
There was a lot needed doing, and another thing I need to be clear about, because when you talk about the club when you took over, people presuppose it's managers and all that. I'm not questioning managers. Everyone has their own style. Everyone has their own way of doing things.
Of course.
But there was a lot that needed correcting, but I'm not talking about just on the pitch. I mean, all sorts that needed correcting. Now, I went in there with an idea of thinking it was this, and it wasn't. It was miles away from where I thought it was. It was in a lot worse shape, as I must keep making it clear, because I don't want people to misconstrue it. I mean on the pitch. Frank was previous to me. He was trying to do everything he could to get that team to win, of course. Yeah. But a lot of the things away from the pitch were all sorts
which
of
Frank
things
says as well.
Do you think that what Sean Dyche did at Everton has helped David Moyes make a good start? He's laid the foundations.
100%. The results weren't what he would have liked, but David Moyes has gone in there, changed a few things, hasn't he? I like the way he changed different parts of the team. O'Brien looks like a really good player. Right
who
back,
didn't get a kick
actually
previously. Yeah.
And you look at even like Decore. I seen a little clip of him when he was talking about Lampard. Didn't work under him. He did under Sean Dyche, and he's working under David Moyes. But no one can say anything about the job Sean Dyche done. You know, like the Calvert-Lewin injury problems and form, and not having the money to go into the transfer market and spend like other clubs. I thought he'd done a fantastic job, and it was the right time for both the club and him to leave. And David Moyes had done a great job. But like you said, the foundations were there that he set.
It'll be interesting to see where Sean Dyche pops up next.
Yes.
Next on the show, though, Sean was asked to discuss what defines good football.
I get frustrated when you're right. You're saying that fans want edge of the seat stuff, but how do you do that when you have an 800 passes? Because it's so slow and methodical. It's hard to get that balance. So I've never wanted anything other than good football. You know, I speak about it all the time, mixing your play and being adaptive to whatever comes in front of you. And it's very tough, as you know, in a block defence. I've had to do it myself at clubs I've been at, including Everton at times, you know. And the Albanian side did that. But, you know, that dynamic and that kind of, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, but we had 800 passes. I'm like, yeah, I was asleep for half of them, you know what I mean? Play forwards, get turned, play forward, stretch teams, you know, play at a tempo that is sort of ultra effective. And I think that's what the best do now, you know, and when it slows down, it just becomes a bit of a grind for me. And it is hard to get fans engaged in that, I think, and it's finding that balance. And there's nothing against the new manager, but I must make it clear, I'm talking more bigger picture of football.
Yeah,
you know, I think it needs to, I think there's an adaptation that needs to occur. Because I think it's slowed down too much now.
And do you think, you mentioned Forest?
Yes.
Do you think there are signs that actually football is beginning to change, almost go full circle again, and 100%. That the passing game is less prevalent?
100%. You see more and more teams now winning games with less possession, not really bothered about possession. It's what you can do with the ball when you get it. I love watching Forest play. They will sit back if they have to, then play on the counter-attack. They won't mess around at the back. They'll get the ball into Chris Wood, play off him, and in the last third, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White, Anderson, Elanga, go and do your stuff, go and take your players on, get crosses in, get bodies in the box. You know you're strong at the back as well. Sometimes I watch teams and I'm just like, pass to the winger. Winger can take their defender on. No, turn back, gets back to the keeper. Keeper to the right back, centre half, left back, into the winger. Nah, don't want to take him on. Okay, let's start again. And you're just like, I see with my team sometimes, Villa, and I'm just like, oh, come on, guys. Come on, like, when you get the ball as a winger, just take him on. So I love watching Forest. Elanga, they can't wait to. The fullbacks are shattered, Jeff.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, no, he's going to take me on again.
Great.
Turn him back.
Exciting to watch.
Exactly, that's the football you want to watch.
Yeah.
It's not about... I remember in my last year with Steve Bruce, like, they put all the stats on the board, and players will go and look at me like, oh, my pass completion was 99. Yeah, but every pass was backwards to the centre half. I'd rather it be 60 and you try to make passes to the strikers, you try to get a winger in behind. So a lot of stats were like taking control. They are now. Are players like, yep, I got 99% pass completion, I ran 13 kilometres, so I should play next week.
Yeah.
But someone who ran 10 kilometres had a better game than you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's one of the reasons why you always see the players with the highest pass completions are centre halves, because they've rolled it 5 feet to their other centre half, you know. So
I'd rather someone like Gibbs-White who's going to make that pass and might give it away.
Yeah.
But then when he does get it right, your wingers through and scores.
Yeah. The question we were all waiting for, however, is why exactly his famous gravelly voice is how it is. Here was Sean's response.
Power did an overhead kick. I'll throw my head at it, being the brave lion of a defender I was, obviously, and ball playing and very quick and, you know, glad on like. And yeah, in the overhead kicked me right in my nose and it smashed my schnoz. And in them days, you know, it's like you don't have an operation.
Get on with it, son, innit?
Yeah, sort of.
Sponge, was it a sponge on the face?
Believe it or not, I swear, and this is not all that, you know, like me being hard or anything, or... You know, but they just got a bit of metal back then, especially just pushed it back in. And the problem is, part of it, I can't breathe. Well, I haven't been able to breathe it for years. So I thought, right, about time I got that done. So I've got to get that done.
Is that the reason for the voice?
No, wait, do you know what? Funny enough, it's not the reason for the voice, because when they go up your nose with the camera, they looked at my voice box, because obviously every special I see goes, we want to check that, and I go, yeah, I know, I've had it checked about 50 times. Pleased to say there isn't anything wrong.
Good.
Yeah, so anyway, I had it checked, and it's sort of, there's something with the snoring, something with your voice tonality. It'd be hilarious. Imagine you ever come out with a squeaky voice. Hi, Johnny. It'd be hilarious. It'd be like,
you'd lose your USP.
Yeah, what's happened to that guy? You know what I mean?
No, it's a brilliant, distinctive voice, isn't it? I mean, you can hear
it's him,
from,
you know it's him.
Of course you do. Would be funny, wouldn't it, if he turned up with a voice like Alan Ball? Remember Ball's voice used to be very high pitched, didn't it? But brilliant. If you missed the former Everton boss Sean Dyche on his talkSPORT debut, don't worry, you can listen back now. Just head over to the talkSPORT app, head to podcasts and click talkSPORT Daily.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.